everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Conversation Station. This episode I'm going to be doing a review on Lost Americana, the newest album by MGK. It released August 8th, 2025, and I just want to review the music a little bit, talk about, my favorite parts and things like that, talk about what my favorite songs are, and then I got a fun little surprise at the end of the video. So let's get right into it. This is MGK's 7th top 10 album on the Billboard 200. He's hit number 1 on the charts twice with Mainstream Sellout and Tickets to My Downfall. I've written down a few notes that I wrote down just as I've been listening to the album since it came out, and I'm just going to insert a few of those, probably not all of them, just a few things that, I had some thoughts on, and then I'll, just talk about some other facts of the album as well. So this album has been an absolute ride since the announcement of it. The album trailer was narrated by Bob Dylan, which was absolutely amazing. I mean, as elusive and as not seen as he usually is, it's just awesome to see him or hear him in anything. So that was really cool. It was really interesting to see, and I think it came out around that time that Bob Dylan liked MGK's music, so that was, really awesome and interesting. And it just kind of marked, that it makes sense that he would do the narration to the album, and it was really cool and really iconic, and it was just something that over time I think it's just going to be looked back on as just how awesome it was. Now, this album has 3 singles: Cliché, Vampire Diaries, and Miss Sunshine. Also, this album has no features, the first album of his with no features, and everybody was not surprised, but it's just definitely interesting when you see an artist go with absolutely, basically no help, and just, rely on their own talent. And this is one of those albums that definitely needed no features. He did such a great job, and it was so much of self-expression that honestly maybe anybody else on that album would have, I don't want to say muddied the water, but it just wouldn't have felt right. This entire album felt like a streamline of a story, so just getting to take that journey with him and only him was kind of what made that album special. So as I said, I'll talk about some of the things I wrote down. My very first impression of the album was, honestly, it felt like a soundtrack to the entire early 2000s. Just basically my entire childhood and everything that was kind of set in that time. Even though this is something new and so awesome and cool, and it, hits its mark at being absolutely something we've never heard before and a new sound, but it just feels like it can take you back if you let it. And that's just how, my interpretation of it. I just felt like really, like I said, I could see a lot of, me being a kid in this album, and that's just how I feel on a lot of the tracks. It's just really awesome. It has a nostalgia type of feel while, again, being something so new and so awesome. The lyrics are so new. The sound is so new while, again, being somewhat familiar, but it's just something I've never heard before. And that just makes me so excited because I love hearing new music. I get in these slumps sometimes where I don't want to say I get negative, but I just get in this point where I'm like, man, nothing new is coming out. Nothing that really just jump starts the soul, makes you really want to, listen and gets you excited about the music. It's very few artists and very few albums that really make you feel that way nowadays anymore. And it just feels like, maybe artists, it just feels like there's a lot of machines behind music nowadays and less people. And this is one of those albums that feels like there was a person and people behind this album. And maybe that's what makes it so important to me. And I think that's why I enjoy it so much. Now, obviously, I know he's signed to a label, and there's huge groups of people that go into making an entire album and an album rollout and things like that. So I understand it is a huge business, but this one just feels a little bit more personable. Not that any of his albums didn't. This one just feels a little bit more. It just feels awesome, and, it's really, really fun. Now we're going to get to my favorite songs. Now, this was a really hard list to gather off this album just because I really, really loved every song so much. And I know that's kind of dumb to say or corny to say, but it's true. I really did have a hard time picking what song I wanted to be on my list of cherry-picked songs, but I had to pick some, so I just re-listened to as many of them as I can, and these are the ones I came up with. So the first one is Vampire Diaries. The reason I like that song is it's so catchy, so awesome, and again, one of those songs that has that ability to give it sort of a nostalgia feel while being something completely new. And it was just really awesome. And I think from the first time I heard it up until, when I listen to it today, I still find new things that I like about it. Don't Wait, Run Fast, another one that was just, he knocked it out of the park. Indigo, man, holy crap. That's one of those MGK songs. I mean, holy crap, man. I don't know what else to say. I don't really want to say too much because I don't want to say the wrong thing, but that one really hits the nail on the head. It's just insane. That's an absolutely amazing song. And I would say, yeah, that's the one to run to listen to. I mean, once you pick it up, I'm pretty sure you won't want to put it down. And the last is Starman. And all these songs, the only reason I picked them out for my favorites is just because the emotionality. I think they're just so awesome, and they tell so much of the story of the album. But this entire album, like I said, beginning to end, is just a journey. And it's a journey we take with MGK and only him, and I think it's just really cool. I mean, his fans are extremely loyal, and I think they understand all the hard work and thought he puts into his videos and his albums. And it's awesome. You can see it in the comments. You can see how much they support him. Now, as I said, I want to keep this short and sweet, so I think I'll wrap it up right there. But I just want to say I really appreciate the music, and honestly, I just can't wait for more. This album is one of those ones that just kickstarts your love of music right back up. And even though I'm getting older, I'm 30 years old, like I said, those are some of those things you just got to look forward to throughout the days. And music is just one of those things that really gets me excited, and albums like this really get me excited. And I just think it's really awesome to see, artists doing stuff that actually matters still. Stuff doesn't feel so, like I said, trapped behind this machine and meant to just be trendy. While this album is absolutely trendy, it's definitely something different. It's, like I said, it's got that person, that people feel to it. And that's the biggest thing for me. And that's what's important. And now, the moment I've all been waiting for. I got something special. Honey? Don't know if you could read that. Haven't opened it yet, not at all, still sealed. Ba-bam. This is so awesome. Dang, I think sealed. I mean, it's good, right? We'll check that out. Now tell me that's not awesome. Now this is a CD, but not just any CD. Comes with a little something awesome inside. Sweet. Now look at that. Sorry about the glare, but really awesome the way they laid out the track listing with their own like movie title and like logo style feel. It's really awesome. And then you got that front cover, which I'm sure if you've seen it on the internet, promise real life doesn't do it justice. The internet doesn't do it justice. The real life CD is amazing looking. Now we open her up and bam. Signed by the man himself. Now that's really awesome. It's probably one of the only autographs I have, and that is really awesome. Look at that. Look at that CD. Amazing. Just artwork, this entire album. From the music to the cover to everything. As I said before, Machine Gun Kelly, thank you so much for this music. This is really awesome. These albums are awesome. The music is awesome. The videos are awesome. I just, can't thank you enough. Like I said, for the people out here just trying to get to work, listening to some music, trying to get through the day. I really appreciate it. It's really awesome. This is just so freaking awesome. That's so sick. I really appreciate any time you spent watching my show. Thank you, and I hope to see you again.